Hello, welcome. This is a video about how to solve quadratic equations, a system of equations when we have two quadratics and they have solutions that are not integers, so they wouldn't be like 7 and -2, but we're going to have like integer decimals and maybe even irrational numbers that we'd have to round. And so we're going to do this in a very similar way to what, if you've watched any of the other videos, what we're going to do is set the two two equations equal to each other because they're both equal to y. So as a result, I'd get x squared plus 2x minus 14 is equal to negative x squared plus 3x minus 7. And then I want to put it in standard form. So I'm going to add x squared here and over here as well. So I'm doing the same thing to both sides of my equal sign. And that cancels this x squared. Then I'm going to get rid of that 3x because it's plus 3x. I'm going to subtract 3x here and here. That'll cancel the 3x over here. And then I'm going to get rid of that minus 7 by doing the opposite of subtracting 7, which would be adding 7 plus 7. And those do that again on both sides. That cancels that. And everything then on the right is gone, leaving 0. And on the left, we have 2x squared minus x. And then minus 14 plus 7 would be -7, minus 7. And I could try to factor this. I might say, just real quick here, if I put 2 times -7, that'd be -14. And then the b value is -1. And so I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to -14 that add to -1. And if you can't think of what those numbers are, you can also just do a different kind of graphic organizer where I put -14 here and -1 here, and then maybe just make kind of a T-chart so I can keep track. We're adding, this is the multiply side, this is the add side. So I can say 1 times 14 there we go. 1 times 14 is 14, but I want it to be negative 14, and I also want the b value to be negative, so I'm going to put the negative on the 14. Now when I add 1 times -14 is -14, 1 plus -14 is -13, and that is not -1, but it is at least the right sign. It's negative. And then I've got 2 times -7, and that would give me -5, and that is not it. And then 3 won't go in, 4 won't, 5 won't, 6 won't, and then we're back to 7. Those are all the factor pairs, and neither of them work to give us the -1, which means that you cannot factor this. So, but we have another option. We can use the quadratic formula where x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and this is all over 2a. And so we're going to take and say a equals 2, b equals -1, and c equals -7. And first, I'm going to find the discriminant. So b squared minus 4ac. The part under the radical is the discriminant. And so then I'm going to say b squared minus 4 times a times c, and then I'm just going to substitute. B is -1, so I put the -1 in the parentheses. A is 2, and c is -7. And -1 squared is +1. I've got -4 times 2 times a -7. There's two negatives there, so that's going to cancel, giving us a positive. 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 7 would be 56. 1 plus 56 is 57. So that's my discriminant, and that's what's going to go right there under the radical. So now I'm going to use the formula, and I'm going to say x equals -b right, negative b plus or minus the square root of my discriminant all over 2 times a. And I like to write it like this with just blanks in there so then I can make the substitutions as I need to. There we go. Can't get my pen to work here. Okay. So b is -1, so I put -1 inside the parentheses. My discriminant is 57, so I put that under the radical, 57. And then my a value is 2, so I put 2 here. Now I want to evaluate this, so I've got 1 times, the negative of -1 is a positive 1, so I've got 1 plus, I'm going to go ahead and separate this into 2 values. This is 1 plus the square root of 57 over 2 times 2, which is 4. And that's one of my values. And the other value is the negative, the plus or minus, that minus part. So I've got 1 minus the square root of 57. And this is all over 4. And if we wanted exact values, those would be your exact values. 1 plus the square root of 57 over 1 minus the square root of 57 over 4. You cannot simplify 57. If you were to take 57, it's obviously not even, but 5 plus 7 is 12, and that's divisible by 3, so is 57. If I take the 3 out of 57, let's see, that goes in, I believe it goes in there 19 times. So no, both 3 and 19 are prime, and you only have one 3 and you only have one 19, and you'd need a pair of them in order to be able to simplify that 57. And you can't. So that would be the exact answer if these were not integers, and they're not. So you can't simplify that square root of 57. But we often want to have our answers as decimals. And so I could take that, 1 plus the square root of 57, divide by 4. And I get my calculator out. And I take, I need to put the top part in parentheses. So I say 1 plus the square root of 57, close the parentheses, divide by 4, right? 1 plus the square root of 57 divided by 4. I hit enter. And that gives me I'm going to go out to the thousands place, 2.137. Because the 4 next to it, I want to round down. So 2.137. 2.137. And again, these are approximate. And they are x values, because we're going to need to get the y values also. And then for the next one, I'm going to take 1 minus the square root of 57 divided by 4. So again, I need the parentheses, 1, this time minus the square root of 57, close my parentheses, then divide by 4. And this time, I get negative 1.637. Again, there's a 4 there, so negative 1.637. Negative 1.637. Those are my x values. Now, I need to go up, and I can go in either one of these equations. So I'm going to choose the second one just because I'm not a huge fan of that minus sign out front. It would work there too. It's just, I think for a lot of students, they kind of have a tendency to misuse those negatives. So I'm going to put it in the second one. So I've got y equals x squared. I'm going to put x, but x I'm going to put 2.137. 2.137 squared plus 2 times 2 point, I'm going to run out of space, so I'm just going to erase this part here. We've used that already, so we'll move on here. 2.137, and then minus 14. And I'm going to put that in my calculator and see what I get for y. So I get my parentheses 2.137. Wait. I'm sorry. Let's see. 2.137. And then that's squared. Plus, I want to make sure that's it's plus 2 times 2.137. And then finally, what was that? The end of that? Minus 14. So minus 14. Try that again. Minus 14. Then I hit enter. And it tells me that it's equal to negative 5.159. Because there's a 2 next to that 9, I'm just going to leave it at negative 5.159. So one of my solutions is the point 2.137, comma, and then let's go back and check to make sure that I've negative 5.159. Negative 5.159. That's one of my solutions. This is the x value and this is the y value. And then I'm going to put in the negative 1.637 into that same equation. So I've got negative 1.637. Make sure that I got that correct from the other screen. 1.637. Negative 1.637. Negative 1.637. And then that's squared plus 2 times, again, negative 1.637. Close the parentheses, and then we got minus 14. When I hit enter this time, I get negative 14.594. Negative 14.594. Negative 14.594. Just make sure I got that down correctly. Negative 14.594. And the value was, the x value was negative 1.637. Close the parentheses. And those 2 points are the solutions that we found. Let's see how we did over here. Negative 1.637, negative 14.594, and then 2.137 and negative 5.156, negative 1.59. I rounded probably differently there before then. But that's how we get those solutions.